Information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. What is Phil's Gang? Phil'sGang.com is a subscription website service that host Phil Grande has been teaching and providing daily stock investment recommendations for over 15 years, all in the name of making its customers educated investors and helping the kids at St. Jude's Children's Hospital. If you want to take charge of your financial future, then do not wait any longer. For only $49.95, become a Phil's Gang member today. Go to philsgang.com or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. You know, on May 29th, I warned that a stock market crash was coming. I also warned in July. Both times, I was watching my technology, my PT2 chart, and it turned from green to red. Both in May and July, we had substantial warnings. We saw the industrials fall. We saw that the market, the Chinese market was falling, was getting worse. Oil was falling. Copper was falling. Everything was falling. But again, CNBC was telling you, hey, things are cheap. Diversify. Everything's wonderful. But my chart was giving me something different. And on both those occasions, both in May and July, I told my gang, let's short the stock market now, because my PT2 chart indicated a sell-off was coming in. And we did. And we had a wonderful ride all the way down. Join my gang, Phil's Gang.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264.
Our economy has been moving.
Yeah, in the wrong direction. This is the same guy that told us we could keep our doctor and we could keep our health insurance. Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Look, I have the best teaching format in the country when it comes to learning how to invest in stocks. People will tell you that. Look, we can't listen to Wall Street. We can't listen to our government. We listen to our charts. That's why you join philsgang.com. Food stamps have exceeded 45 million for 50 straight months. And he's telling us things are good. What are you, nuts?
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
What does that mean to make the wealthiest Americans pay their fair share? Would that mean taxing the wealthiest Americans at 90%?
No, I don't think you have to go up to 90%. But you can remember that under people like Dwight David Eisenhower, we had a tax system that was far more progressive than it was today. When you have
around 90%.
Yeah.
But how can you do that? I mean, you're promising free health care for everybody, college for everybody, paid leave, and you haven't yet said how you're going to pay for it. And you suggested you would tax the wealthiest Americans at a rate about 90%.
No, I did not suggest that.
You want to raise the corporate tax rate.
Whoops.
Sorry.
Yeah. Bernie Sanders is an idiot. He really is. My God. Bernie Sanders has forgotten what has made America a great country. This is crazy. This is crazy. He wants to give everything to everybody free. Free. See, the biggest problem we have today and why we don't have a recovery is too much government control. It hinders prosperity. He wants more government control. Much more. Look at your path, our path, my path, your path to prosperity is not more government spending, more meddling, more getting involved, more regulations, more hindering us. Get out of our way. Prosperity is not increasing minimum wage. Prosperity, you don't get prosperity by increasing minimum wage. You get prosperity by giving people better jobs. Every election, Bernie Sanders, now Hillary. I told you. It's all you're going to hear. They want to raise minimum wage. Like minimum wage is a way to prosperity. Minimum wage is an entry level to a job. It's an entry level to a job market. It's not a way to prosperity. Minimum wage has never been intended to provide for a family. You don't get married if you're on minimum wage. You have to be an idiot to get married and go on minimum wage. That's not the purpose of it. It was the entry level. It was an entry level. The kids that got out of high school didn't go to college. It served its purpose. But listen to these two socialists.
All of our workers from coast to coast need at least $15 an hour. What we are saying loudly and clearly is $7.25 an hour. The current federal minimum wage is a starvation wage. It's got to be raised to a living wage.
No one ever said that it was a living wage. Minimum wage, the purpose of minimum wage is not a living wage. Most of the people are on, matter of fact, we have very, very few people on minimum wage. We have less than 1 million people on minimum wage. You know that? They're mostly teenagers, high school people. Here's Hillary.
Are we ready to take this great victory that we had and translate it into action for the working people of this country by raising the minimum wage?
You don't get there with the minimum wage, raising minimum wage. For heaven's sakes, these morons don't get it. You know, companies like Burger King, Wendy's, Sonic, these McDonald's, you know what a franchise, do you know what their margin, matter of fact, I don't think Bernie Sanders knows what a margin is, a profit margin is. I don't think Hillary knows what a profit margin is, because these two have been sucking off the government their whole life. They never had a job. They don't know what a profit margin is. You sell your goods, take out your expenses, and Wendy's is 0.3%. If you own a Wendy's franchise, 0.3%. Now you're going to take the minimum wage, you go from $7 to $15. You're going to kill the guy that owns Wendy's. Same thing with Burger King. Burger King's better. 6%. Sonic, 6%. Now, McDonald's is the best. 19%. 19%. But that's still low. So, the idea that minimum wage is going to make us prosper is a joke. It's a joke. See, they hate Bernie Sanders and Hillary. They're dangerous people. They're a hindrance to prosperity. See, they don't want you to have prosperity. They don't want me to have prosperity, because when you have prosperity, you have freedom. You have freedom from government. You can tell government to go stick it. They want people to be poor, so they depend on government. They hate the thought of prosperity. They hate the thought of freedom. They do. We're all entitled to prosperity, which is economic freedom. The ability to profit from our own ideas, our own work, our own labor that we choose. They feel with prosperity, we will not require government control. See, that's what they see. They're fearful. See, if there's prosperity, we won't require the government to come and control us. We don't need the government benefits, welfare, food stamps, in order to prosper. That scares them to death. These socialists, these communists. Nor do we need guaranteed health care. How has that worked out so far? And remember what health care is. It's how you open the door to communism. Reagan said that. You open the door to socialism, communism, health care. We don't need guaranteed health care. Nobody needs guaranteed health care if you're free to go out and take your ideas, take your thought, and if you're free to prosper. But the only way you're going to be free to prosper if they don't put all kinds of regulations on us. They don't interfere with us. Then we can prosper. Everybody can prosper, but we can't with government controls and government regulations. And government debt kills us. Who the hell needs guaranteed health care? We don't need all kinds of vacations and leisure time either. We need the freedom to pursue our goals, our aspirations. Freedom to own our own property. Oh, they hate that. They don't want us owning our own property. They love us renting. We have shifted now from a home ownership society to exactly what Obama has wanted. A rental society. They hate us owning property. Owning property shows freedom. Owning property shows prosperity. That's the last thing they want. Owning property shows you don't need government. You can tell government to go stick it. But boy, when you become a renter, you need government. You need government subsidies. You need to get those rents down because you don't make enough. That's what they want. And that's where we are today. Why do you think it's all rentals? All rentals today. We want the freedom to own property. We want the freedom to act on our own initiative and profit from it. But Hillary Clinton and this idiot Sanders, it's incredible. To have access, all I want is give me an access to markets. Give me an access to market. Give me access to capital. Give me access to resources. That's what government's supposed to do. Provide for me as an entrepreneur access to markets, access to capital, access to resources. Provide to me a good working environment so I can become prosperous. We'll be right back after this break and take a look at the stock market. 15 past the hour here on Phil's Gang.
For more information on this show, go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com, Phil's Gang Radio Show. You know, we just went through a 1,900-point stock market drop, fastest drop ever in 2 days. Most of you panicked. At Phil's Gang, we didn't look at it as a crash. We looked at it as an opportunity because we were short. Why? Because I was able to teach my students how to read a chart so in advance they would know that the market was going to go down. It's all about learning. It's always amazed me. Our whole life, someone teaches us to play baseball, someone teaches us to ski, someone teaches us how to drive a car. But there's nobody there to teach you how to invest in a stock. And that's where I come. I think I have the best teaching format in the country. Check it out. It's philsgang.com. So you'll be so comfortable, you don't care if the market's going down or the market's going up. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com, Phil's Gang Radio Show. You know, we just went through a 1,900-point stock market drop, fastest drop ever in 2 days. Most of you panicked. At Phil's Gang, we didn't look at it as a crash. We looked at it as an opportunity because we were short. Why? Because I was able to teach my students how to read a chart so in advance they would know that the market was going to go down. It's all about learning. It's always amazed me. Our whole life, someone teaches us to play baseball, someone teaches us to ski, someone teaches us how to drive a car. But there's nobody there to teach you how to invest in a stock. And that's where I come. I think I have the best teaching format in the country. Check it out. It's philsgang.com. So you'll be so comfortable, you don't care if the market's going down or the market's going up. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. You know, everybody's been panicked about the crash. You've been told by CNBC it wasn't going to be a crash. The stocks were cheap. I've been telling you just the opposite. I've been telling you that going all the way back to June 2014. And then again, 2015, both May and July, and I said to start shorting. And if you were a gang member, you'd be pretty happy right now. Join my gang, learn how to short.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG.
From the perspective of the U.S. economy, I think we've seen continuing signs of strength.
Continuing signs of strength? What are you, nuts? Household spending dropped to its lowest level since 2008. Retail sales dropped to its lowest level in 9 years. Wages to its lowest level in 30 years. Disposable income to its lowest level in 40 years. Home ownership to its lowest level in 30 years. What's he talking about? That's Jack Lew, our Treasury Secretary. We can't trust anything that comes out of Washington or Wall Street. And that's why I want you to join Phil's Gang. My name is Phil Grande of philsgang.com. Well, the reason you stay away from the stock market because you're fearful, because no one has taught you how to invest. You go to school to learn how to do math. You go to school to learn how to drive. Why don't you go to school to learn how to invest using charts? Join my gang, philsgang.com, the best teaching format in the country when it comes to stocks.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. Remember, on May 29th and July 28th, I said to short the market. The market was going to experience a correction. How did I know? My PT2. Check it out. This is not a crash for us. We're experiencing a correction because we are now making money on our stocks because we're shorting it. Using our PT2 identify for us when they were pulling their money out, both in May and July, and we were right there to pull our money out too. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG.
Middle-class economics works.
Works? Where? Show me where it works. You tell us the unemployment rate is 5.1%, and you only get to 5.1% by making sure people don't have a job. Think of August. August, the unemployment rate went down to 5.1% because 200,000 people couldn't find a job. If they found a job, our unemployment rate would be at 10%. Isn't this amazing? Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. Aren't you sick of this stuff? Aren't you sick of these politicians? They keep lying to us. You know, Wall Street does too. And how many times have you said, boy, I hate Wall Street. I hate the stock market. But that's the best place in the world to make money. But you need a lesson. You need a lesson on how to invest. That's where I come in. Join my gang, philsgang.com. It's the best teaching format in the country when you want to learn how to invest in stocks. philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by philsgang.com.
President Obama walked into the White House January of 2009 and decided to juice things up with massive government spending. Then he decided to rein in those wicked private enterprise with onerous regulations. It was a chronic failure. Middle America is in bad shape. Hillary Clinton won't change things. Bernie Sanders will say, told you, tax the rich to make it fair. And the Republicans, regrettably, the candidates who have a real recovery plan are behind in the polls. And in the debate, the growth guys took a back seat. No wonder non-politicians are leading the Republican pack. No wonder the country looks to Donald Trump to express outrage and anger. But put the blame where it belongs, on the failed policies of President Obama. Government does not bring prosperity, and middle America knows it.
And trying to spend our way out of recession has never worked. It's never worked. It hasn't worked for Europe. It hasn't worked for us. Already, we have fallen from the ranks of the economically free from number 1 down to number 10. And if we continue to shed our free market tradition and allow more debt, Bernie Sanders wants $18 trillion more debt to pay for everything, to give everybody everything free. That debt will crush any American dream we have left. And we have very little left, especially when we lost our American dream of housing. Now we're renters. Already, under this regime, the real median household income has dropped by 6.4%. That's unbelievable. It's incredible. So what do? Well, the reason that Aunt B did not raise interest rates, because she knows what I'm saying is true. She could not raise interest rates in the environment that we have. She can lie all she wants and say our economy is strong, our labor market is strong, we're spending all kinds of money, it's all strong. It's not. She knows it's not true at all. She knows what we're seeing today. She knows all this government interference has killed us. She knows that. She knows that Sanders wants an authoritarian government. It's never worked. Never worked. He wants more government spending. It's not going to work. More government intervention. It's not going to work. More regulations. It hasn't worked. She knows that. Why do you think she didn't raise rates? She won't admit to it. He wants higher taxes to pay for all this crap for his communist regime. Yet, we already are paying too much. We pay now about $4 trillion in taxes. About $152 billion more than we will spend on housing, food, and clothing combined. What is he, nuts? Now let's go to the stock market and see how the market reacted to B yesterday.
Stock Corner is brought to you by the Phil's Gang video channel. Go to philsgang.com, click on the video channel graphic, and check out Phil's free videos on the market, economy, and current events.
Okay. The stock market is down nearly 300 points. That's not a surprise to us. I told my gang members yesterday the market, when it failed to rally 300 points when they decided not to raise rates. When? Have you ever seen a market drop when they said we're not going to raise rates? When they tell you you're not going to raise rates, people are excited. They say, I can go out and I can buy something now, so it's expensive. I'm not going to have that interest rate on me. People always were concerned about what's the interest rate? What's the interest rate? But now today, no more. No more. It's what's the late charge? What's the late payment charge? They don't care about it. They don't care about interest rates anymore. Late payment charge. So we're down 300 points. But for the gang, we're fine. We're in great shape. Why? Because we told you that there was not going to be a rate hike. We were in position. We knew. Now, yesterday we thought the market was going to rally. Like I said, a couple 300 points. It didn't. And that's telling us we're going to test the lows. That's right. We're going to test the lows of that last month, of the 1,900 point drop. We're going to test those lows. Now, the one thing that's working, and it's looking really good, and we got into golds. We got into gold mining stocks. We got into gold. But you got to be patient now. You got to be patient. It's working. Gold is going up. It's looking really good. We're long gold. We told our gang members to buy a little gold. We were hoping oil would go up a little bit better, but it hasn't. But gold has. Gold's doing better. Gold's the winner right now. These metals are the winner. So if you were a gang member, and if you went today and you looked at your PT2, it just turned green. Just turned green. Meaning that institution buyers are just starting to buy gold. We need one more day for confirmation. That's the beautiful thing about the PT2. PT2 you never guess. The PT2 is wonderful because all you have to know is when it turns from red to green, you know that the institutions that control the gold mining stocks, the big institutions, the big hedge funds, the big companies, you know they're buying more. You know they're buying more. You haven't got to know everything about the mining companies. You haven't got to know anything about them. You don't have to know their name. All you have to know is, did it turn green from red? So let's say we come in Monday, it's at $15. Right now it's around $14. So let's say it's at $15 on Monday. Here's the beautiful thing about what we do. So it turned green today on Friday. We don't buy any. We turned green on, we have another up day on Monday, green. Now, let's say it's at 15. We come in and we put our stop in at 14, a stop, S-T-O-P, stop. What's that mean? That means you cannot lose any more money than at that point, at 14. You'll get stopped out. If you buy it at 15, it goes up to 15.50, 16, then it comes back and starts hitting 14. That's it. You're out. So you always know the amount of money you're risking. Does your planner do that for you? Of course not. That's the beautiful thing. And that's why I tell you, why don't you at least take a lesson? I do have a free lesson, by the way. Please, everybody go to my site, philsgang.com. I have a free lesson on charting. Free. Check it out. I'll bet you check that lesson out, then you'll become a gang member. You say, this is pretty interesting. Charting. It's all about charting. Check out my free lesson. We'll be right back with a lot more on stocks.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG. At philsgang.com, we promote core technicals and chart analysis that enables each PhilsGang member to be the best investor they can be. At philsgang.com, stock investing is defined in detail by the PhilsGang standards. Working together, we achieve our goals and ultimately provide a truly unique profit-taking experience for our members. This is what philsgang.com does, and no one does it better than the off-the-Wall Street maverick, Phil Grande. For over 15 years, Phil coaches and teaches that stock investing diversity goes beyond fundamentals and stories. We believe that amazing things happen when people invest in themselves by following Phil's format and recommendations. At philsgang.com, we believe in the desire to embrace, build, and deliver on our core values and promises. And for over 15 years, Phil Grande has delivered on that promise. For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. You know, on May 29th, I warned that a stock market crash was coming. I also warned in July. Both times, I was watching my technology, my PT2 chart, and it turned from green to red. Both in May and July, we had substantial warnings. We saw the industrials fall. We saw that the market, the Chinese market was falling, was getting worse. Oil was falling. Copper was falling. Everything was falling. But again, CNBC was telling you, hey, things are cheap. Diversify. Everything's wonderful. But my chart was giving me something different. And on both those occasions, both in May and July, I told my gang, let's short the stock market now, because my PT2 chart indicated a sell-off was coming in. And we did. And we had a wonderful ride all the way down. Join my gang, Phil's Gang.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of Phil's Gang. You know, on May 29th, I warned that a stock market crash was coming. I also warned in July. Both times, I was watching my technology, my PT2 chart, and it turned from green to red. Both in May and July, we had substantial warnings. We saw the industrials fall. We saw that the market, the Chinese market was falling, was getting worse. Oil was falling. Copper was falling. Everything was falling. But again, CNBC was telling you, hey, things are cheap. Diversify. Everything's wonderful. But my chart was giving me something different. And on both those occasions, both in May and July, I told my gang, let's short the stock market now, because my PT2 chart indicated a sell-off was coming in. And we did. And we had a wonderful ride all the way down. Join my gang, Phil's Gang.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know, this last 1,900-point drop in the stock market scared everybody. They called it a crash. But here at Phil's Gang, we call it an opportunity. Why? Because I taught my students how to read a chart. And here's the problem in this industry. You go somewhere to learn how to drive a car, but you never go anywhere to learn how to invest in a stock. Well, you'll do that here at Phil's Gang. Join my gang. philsgang.com, the best teaching format in the country when it comes to stocks.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com, Phil's Gang Radio Show. You know, we just went through a 1,900-point stock market drop, fastest drop ever in 2 days. Most of you panicked. At Phil's Gang, we didn't look at it as a crash. We looked at it as an opportunity because we were short. Why? Because I was able to teach my students how to read a chart, so in advance, they would know that the market was going to go down. It's all about learning. It's always amazed me. Our whole life, someone teaches us to play baseball, someone teaches us to ski, someone teaches us how to drive a car. But there's nobody there to teach you how to invest in a stock. And that's where I come. I think I have the best teaching format in the country. Check it out. It's philsgang.com. So you'll be so comfortable. You don't care if the market's going down or the market's going up. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. 877-600-4264.
St. Jude is amazing. A family member said, well, if you go to St. Jude, you don't have to pay anything. And I didn't believe it. They take care of our housing. They take care of our food. In addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by Phil's Talking Trader Stock Charts.
As president, would you sign a bill, yes or no, please, in favor of allowing the Keystone XL pipeline?
Well, as you know, I was the Secretary of State who started that process. If it's undecided when I become president, I will answer your question.
What? Welcome back to Phil's Gang. What? She sounds just like a lawyer, doesn't she? Doesn't she sound like a lawyer? Unbelievable. Listen to this one.
I have been waiting for the administration to make a decision. I thought I owed them that. I worked in the administration. I started the process that is supposed to lead to a decision. I can't wait too much longer, and I am putting the White House on notice. I'm going to tell you what I think soon, because I can't wait. I thought they would have it decided way by now, and they haven't.
Way by now. We need jobs. The reason we have a lousy economy, the reason they can't raise rates, 7 years, they can't raise rates. Wake up, it's because we have a lousy economy. It doesn't make any difference to me or my gang. Now, for you non-gang members, you know what I'm talking about. But I'll tell you and I'll show you. If you go to my site right now, philsgang.com, if you're in front of your computer, if you have a mobile device, take, for example, Macy's. If you were my gang and Macy's was one of our stocks, Macy's turned from green to red. And that happened back in July. Green to red. Around $69, dropped to about $69. And it's gone all the way down now to around $54. $54. That's about a 21% drop. You would have made 21% profit if you were a gang member. You took a lesson. You learned the color green. When it turns green to red, how to execute, how to short, so you make money goes down. That's 24%, at least 21%. Let's say you made half of that, and it's still red today. That's a beautiful thing. Now take gold. So let's take AU, the symbol for my gold. Anglo Gold. Do you know it turned red from red to green three days ago? It told us 3 days ago that the institutions that control this gold company were starting to buy enough, adding to their position to give it pricing power, and it turned green. Do you know that's a 11% gain in 3 days? That went up 11% in 3 days. Let's say you caught it later. Let's say you got half of it, 5%. What do you get in the bank all year? Go to my site. I have a free lesson in charting. Free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Maybe if you see that lesson, Maybe that will convince you, especially the PT2 for people who say, I don't want to learn nothing. Just give me a hot stock, man. I don't want to learn nothing. I don't want to spend any time at this. I just want to get rich doing nothing. I'm going to do better than that. Just go take a look at the PT2. When it turns green, you buy. When it turns red, you sell short. Doesn't matter what stock. Put your own stock in. Then we'll give you some techniques to work with. You'll have fun, and you'll be in control. Going back to this economy stinks. They can't raise rates because they know it stinks. Corporations and CEOs, ever since Bill Clinton changed the tax law in 1993, that made it advantageous for CEOs to take the biggest share of their compensation through stock options by doing these stock buybacks. They're continuing to do it. They're making a ton of money, and there's no advantage to the company, no advantage to the workers. They're getting screwed. They're getting rich. The people who get dividends are getting rich, but the worker is getting screwed, and the company, there's no value added. This is the law that Bill Clinton put in. Think about it. So CEOs that go on CNBC continue to state how profitable companies are, that their balance sheets are real healthy. Well, if that's the truth, why aren't they raising rates? They're telling how it's full of cash, but they're not raising rates. And yet, with no compelling financial reason other than CEOs see workers as an obstacle to higher profits, bonuses, and increased dividends for shareholders. That's how they look at the workers now. This is why they can't raise rates. This is how the CEOs are looking at workers. They're an obstacle. Before, it used to be a partnership with a pension. No more. Now with 401ks. You're an obstacle. The only way companies are making money today are firing people. Not by sales. They don't care about sales anymore. They don't have to have sales anymore. They just do stock buybacks. Yet under Obama's leadership, CEOs of the major S&P 500 companies have been laying off an average, get this, 300,000 people a week, every week, or 1.2 million people every month, to increase profits, increase dividends, increase stock options. You've never heard that before, have you? No, you always hear about, look at all, I created 13 million jobs. Well, how about deducting from the 13 million the jobs you lost? Maybe you're at 5 million. And even then, that's not a correct number. But the real number, every month, you want to see the real number. They're laying off 300,000 people, workers, every week. That's 1.2 million every month because they're an obstacle to higher profits. And the bonuses. Wow. You talk about our country getting weak. That's why we can't raise rates. Because nobody cares about labor. Nobody cares about the worker. Nobody cares. So just a few people are making a lot of money. But the worker isn't. And because the worker isn't, they can't go to the store. They can't buy stuff. And if they can't buy stuff, our factories aren't producing. And because we're not producing, our lifestyle is going down the tubes. And we're not producing, so little we're producing. Only a few people are making money. That's why we can't raise rates, because people can't go buy stuff. They don't have any money to buy stuff. Oil. Yellen's not going to raise rates next month, the month after, the month after, the month after. He's not going to raise rates. Not with oil prices this low, and oil prices are going to get lower because there's no demand. Why? Because we don't have good jobs. When you don't have good jobs, you don't have productivity. You don't have productivity, you don't have people going out saving, you don't have people going out buying stuff. So therefore, you don't have profits in these companies. So the way they get profits is they fake it by doing stock buybacks. So Yellen can't raise rates. Oil prices are a killer. They're going low, too low. And it's taken a real toll on the overall 194,000 people in the oil and gas extraction. Another 394,000 who provide the support activities for the mining of minerals and coal and so forth. These people are losing their jobs left and right. Baker Hughes announced 7,000 more job cuts. Schlumberger, another 9,000. The gas extraction jobs, another 16,000 slash. Oh, but the economy's doing wonderful, we're told. All you want to know is this. If a stock is going down, you don't even have to know the name of the stock. If it's going down, you come take a lesson. I show you how to identify it's coming down, and then you short it. Start learning how to short stocks. This market is going to go down. This market's going to go down to where it used to be because it's been all fake. You got the best opportunity in front of you ever had. Join my gang. Remember, go to my website, a free charting lesson. Check it out. Then join the gang.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
From the perspective of the U.S. economy, I think we've seen continuing signs of strength.
Continuing signs of strength? What are you, nuts? Household spending dropped to its lowest level since 2008. Retail sales dropped to its lowest level in 9 years. Wages to its lowest level in 30 years. Disposable income to its lowest level in 40 years. Home ownership to its lowest level in 30 years. What's he talking about? That's Jack Lew, our Treasury Secretary. We can't trust anything that comes out of Washington or Wall Street. And that's why I want you to join Phil's Gang. My name is Phil Grande of philsgang.com. Well, the reason you stay away from the stock market because you're fearful, because no one has taught you how to invest. You go to school to learn how to do math. You go to school to learn how to drive. Why don't you go to school to learn how to invest using charts? Join my gang, philsgang.com, the best teaching format in the country when it comes to stocks.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264.
Be sure to watch the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to the Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
Middle-class economics works.
Works? Where? Show me where it works. You tell us the unemployment rate is 5.1%, and you only get to 5.1% by making sure people don't have a job. Think of August. August, the unemployment rate went down to 5.1% because 200,000 people couldn't find a job. If they found a job, our unemployment rate would be at 10%. Isn't this amazing? Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. Aren't you sick of this stuff? Aren't you sick of these politicians? They keep lying to us. And you know, Wall Street does too. And how many times have you said, boy, I hate Wall Street. I hate the stock market. But that's the best place in the world to make money. But you need a lesson. You need a lesson on how to invest. That's where I come in. Join my gang, philsgang.com. It's the best teaching format in the country when you want to learn how to invest in stocks. philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. 877-600-4264. There is only one talk show host, Phil Grande, who delivers both social and financial talk. Not even Hannity or Rush can deliver a 1-2 punch like that. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Phil Grande is unique, the industry leader, the first talk show host ever to combine social issues and finance into winning stock market ideas. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. At philsgang.com, we promote core technicals and chart analysis that enables each Phil's Gang member to be the best investor they can be. At philsgang.com, stock investing is defined in detail by the Phil's Gang standards. Working together, we achieve our goals and ultimately provide a truly unique profit-taking experience for our members. This is what philsgang.com does, and no one does it better than the off-the-Wall Street maverick, Phil Grande. For over 15 years, Phil coaches and teaches that stock investing diversity goes beyond fundamentals and stories. We believe that amazing things happen when people invest in themselves by following Phil's format and recommendations. At philsgang.com, we believe in the desire to embrace, build, and deliver on our core values and promises. And for over 15 years, Phil Grande has delivered on that promise. For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by Phil's Talking Trader Stock Charts.
And welcome back to the Phil's Gang. The market's down 325 points. If you were a gang member, if you had my PT2, and let's say that you had STX, one of our stocks, it turned red on our PT2, and it turned red around $49. Now it's around $45. That's a nice little return. Again, if you had my PT2, as soon as that turned from green to red, you would have had a nice little 8% return. If you got in it today, you would have had about a 4% return. Because you know why? Because we knew the stock was going down because of our chart. We also took and shorted Macy's today. We gave Macy's to our gang to short today. That's doing very nicely as well, down about 2% today. And at the same time, my gang, is still long the golds. So the nice thing when the market's going 300 down, 300 points, 321 points, instead of you going, oh my God, what's my stock doing? You go, this is great. Oh, this is great. Thank God the market's going down. All you need is a chart with some training. I just got to teach you a little bit. Just got to train you how to use a chart. And the PT2 is the simplest one. It's so easy. Check it out. Go to my site. I have a free charting lesson for you. So, the market, they didn't raise rates and the market's going down. It goes to show you how bad this economy is, and we've been lied to ever since. They keep lying to us about this economy. No one's telling the truth. But that's okay. Because we don't need to know. We don't need to hear from these people in Washington. We don't need to hear from the banksters. We don't need to hear from people on CNBC. We just need to look at our chart. That's all we need to know. And we're doing just fine, thank you. The biggest reason I told you the other day that she can't raise rates because of businesses, and especially the auto business. The auto business, most people don't realize when you go around, you see these big, you go to these facilities and these brand new auto facilities, and they got these magnificent buildings. Do you know what they make? They make margins of 1% to 2%. That's it. The overhead they have is incredible. And that's why they can't raise rates. Because the only thing that's keeping this country alive, the underpinning to this country, is the auto business. With a 1% to 2% margin, that's it. They can get wiped out. I told you that GM could go back into bankruptcy if it goes from 17 million units down to 15 million units. They go right back into bankruptcy. That's why you'll never see rates increase. Not until you create jobs. But this president will never create a job. Look at the manufacturing jobs. He hasn't created not one new manufacturing job since he's been president. Because that's not his thing, creating jobs. Redistribution of wealth is his thing. Then you got Bernie Sanders coming in behind him, who now wants a full socialist and communist country. But you go back to again, these margins, why she can't raise rates. Not only the margins, why you can't raise minimum wage, where you got these Burger King 6% and Sonic 6% margins, McDonald's and the rest of them, they're not making enough money. Now, the corporations are, the headquarters are, but not the guy who buys the franchise. And even the new auto guys. Do you know what it takes? These facilities aren't cheap, to maintain. And remember, the automakers, they mandate, like Mercedes especially, they mandate you. You got to build a new building. You got to build a new showroom. You have no choice, or you lose that franchise. And the staff requirements are incredible. To sell a car, you need 10 different people to sell a car. That's right. 10 people on different parts of the transaction. Think about it. A pre-delivery inspection technician who checks the new cars when they come off the truck and get them ready for sale. They install all the accessories and check the fluid, etc. You have a detailer who pulls off all the plastic crap and packaging. Then you have a porter who parks the car and he keeps moving the cars around, make sure they're parked so that it looks nice and fresh. You have a salesperson. You have a manager to make sure all the salespeople are working and productive, and a finance manager to make sure financing and the paperwork is good. What they have is they all have mirrors, and they just put the mirror underneath the person's nose and they sign you up if you're breathing. That's right. Bad breath and all. Just let me see that mirror. Fog that mirror up, baby, and you got a loan. A title clerk who secures legal documents. You have accounting people checking everything and all this crap that goes with it. You got 10 people for a car. 10 people. That's why they don't make much margin, and that's why she can't raise rates, because that's what's keeping our economy afloat. Isn't that incredible? Now, the carrying costs are killers on these car lots. Killer. Because remember, every piece of inventory in a dealer lot is paid for with borrowed money. If they raised interest rates, all those car dealers that you see around the country, like all the GM dealerships, they'd all go out of business because the margins are so slim. Do you know what a grocery store margin is? 0.5%. That's what they make, 0.5%. So when next time you drive by one of these fancy auto dealers, these showrooms, these killer showrooms, remember they got killer inventory, and the price on the inventory is a killer. To carry that inventory, it's all borrowed money. It's called floor planning. She knew if she raised rates, she would kill what's underpinning this country. Now, student loans are underpinning the country, but the student loans most are on a fixed rate. In fact, if you have a vehicle for more than 120 days on that floor plan, you got a car for more than 120 days, you're officially losing money. You got to turn that car. You got to turn it before 120 days. That's incredible. So that's why, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about this except me. But you'll start hearing people talking about it. That's the main reason that she did not raise rates. Isn't that incredible? Now look, we're losing oil jobs. How can Obama go to the breakfast meeting this week with the Business Roundtable and say this?
More than 13 million new jobs over the past 66 months, the longest streak of job growth on record. The unemployment rate is lower than it's been in over 7 years. There are more job openings right now than at any time in our history. Housing has bounced back. Health is higher than it was before the recession. So this progress is a testament to American business.
No, it's a testament to how you guys can just mask the real economy. Now, he says this in front of businessmen, which didn't have any guts to stand up and challenge him. So the 13 million we know is not true. If you deduct from the 13 million the ones that lost their jobs, which they don't do it, there's 5 million net. That's the real number. But here's the real number. We're losing 1 million jobs a month. Why don't you tell the truth? 1 million a month. And this 5.1%, everybody brags about 5.1%. Everything's terrific because we're at a 5.1% rate. Can you imagine that? Everybody uses that number. Everybody, when it's a total lie. We know that. And job openings? You talked about, we have more job openings than ever before because we're not filling them. Why? Because the CEOs don't hire. Why? Because they have no confidence in what he's doing. They have no confidence in his policies because his policies suck. Because his policies have we're the only recovery out of all 11 that we haven't recovered by now. We're 7 years. All the other recoveries took 18 months. We're 7 years. We're over 70 months. Everybody else was 18 months. Yet Obama comes in and he brags to the round table. And then on the other side, we just said you got Hillary and Sanders. They want more socialism. Look, I can't change any of that. I can't change any of that. But I can tell you this. I can change your lifestyle. I'll do the best job I can. Just try it. You gotta, if anyone thinks they're going to make money with their hands, okay, they're going to make money like a doctor, dentist. The worst thing in the world would be a dentist. You got one set of hands. You make money on money. Let your money do the work for you. The best place is the stock market. And you're going to say, no, Phil, it isn't. I lost all my money. But let me ask you a question. Did you lose your money? Because what? Did you go to a planner? I bet you did. I bet you're in a 401k. I bet you did. When the market started to collapse on you, whether it was the dot-com or the housing con, the financial con, when it started, did you turn around and short it? Did anybody tell you how to short it? Did anybody tell you when you bought a stock at $10 to put a stop in at 9, so if it goes anywhere near 9, you get kicked out automatically? I can help you. Go to my site, philsgang.com, over the weekend and get the free charting lesson and join my gang. You won't care if the market's going up or down. Hey, we'll see you on the charts.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.